Hello, welcome back to Sim by the Mile. You join me here on the Medway Valley Line, which has earned a well-deserved positive reaction from the community. But why? Today we're here at Strood station and we're driving south down the line, running service number 2 T40 all the way to Paddock Wood. Along the way we'll be exploring every station as we follow the Medway River and uncover the small details that make this route so impressive. So I do hope you all stick around. We're just waiting for our signal to leave the station and get on our way. We should be ready to go in a couple of seconds. We've just been given the clearance to leave the platform. We're just waiting for our doors to close and then we'll be on our way and making our way south along the River Medway. The first thing you'll notice about this train if you don't have the route is they do have a simulated guarding. You can see we're just waiting for the buzzer. There's the bell that gives us a sign so we can pop the reverser forward, give some power, brakes are off, and we should be moving. There we go, we are rolling out the station. Now, as we leave the station, we are limited to 15 miles an hour. And as you can see on the upper platform there, we do have one of the Javelin services coming into Strood as well. Now, if you do own the southeastern high-speed route, you will see the Javelin. If you don't, it won't show up. And you will be able to run that branch of the line. There are a few Javelin services that do come with the route that do actually go down to Maidstone West, so you can use it a little bit here as well. And the route, modelling what Firefly simulations have done, does take you all the way to Gravesend, so you can have a little bit of a run using the Javelin on this route, as well as the old southeastern high speed, if you're that way inclined if you own the route. It is nice to see it layered over though, and to get that mixture of traffic around Strood Station. Okay, we've got our first clearance here up to 45 and up to 70, so let's pop on some speed. We'll start heading south and we'll very soon meet our very first little landmark along the way. One thing you'll notice as we do head south is there is quite a bit of a contrast in terms of the scenery. This northern part of the line, Strood, Cuxton, basically all the way down to Maidstone, is very much, it's more built up, but it's also more industrial along the river. You'll see lots of warehouses, as a DHL distribution service, I'll point out, factories, there's a cement plant, which does have a rail connection. You'll see them type of services where once we go to the south of Maidstone, then it really opens up and becomes much more rural and farmland, and just different in the sections of map we're in. As you can see here, we do have houses, but you do have these factories, you know, storage yards, very much more industrial. We'll acknowledge the AWS, and soon enough our very first landmark site that you'll notice along the route comes into view, and that's the Medway Viaducts. The Medway Viaducts that carry the M2 motorway and also High Speed 1, the Channel Tunnel, over the Medway and over the Medway Valley Line that we're running here. You can just see them off in the distance. We do also need to start bringing the power down for our first stop at Cuxton, which is just over a mile away. But yeah, this triple bridge structure, the first two bridges are of the motorway and of the M2. And then the third one is the high-speed rail bridge. Unfortunately, I don't believe, or at least I've not personally seen when I've been running this line, any of the high-speed Javelin trains or Eurostar trains flying over that. But yeah, that's where you'd see them if you were driving in the cab and you timed it right, going through that station. For us, we're here at Cuxton, and I believe we have this red signal here that just protects the level crossing the other side of the platform. Let's try not to spad the signal. I've done that before when I've inadvertently pressed the controller the wrong way and increased the throttle as opposed to braking and just went flying through the signal. because I hadn't realised we were speeding up. Think we're safe on that one today, though. And we just gently cruise it into the platform. You'll see just the other side of the level crossing as well, there is a little signal box there for Cookstone. It looks like there is a man modelled in the signal box. I assume that's just to protect the level crossing, basically, and service the level crossing here. And for any car traffic. The barriers are down over the level crossing and we have got the green light, so let's get the doors closed. You'll see on the outside view that doors, I can't really get a good angle with the trees there, but the last door on there always closes slightly behind, again simulating the guard. Basically giving us a signal to go. And that's followed, once that door's closed, by the 2 bells saying, yep, get your move on. And off we go to Halling for our next station stop. One thing I will say is it is nice after using the Alan Thompson Simulations Class 90 and playing on a control pad to actually be able to play using the safety systems.
The next station is
one thing, I know the Alan Thompson Simulations, and there's a whole video about it. Go watch that if you haven't. There's a review of the Alan Thompson Simulations and also live gameplay of it. But I know one of the main issues with that was it was just the pure quality and how the AWS not working skipped through QA. I have no idea. It's such a contrast when Firefly Simulations have done such an amazing route on this job with details galore and it's performance optimized, probably one of the best performing optimized routes Train Sim World, and especially Train Sim World 6 has ever had. And then you get Alan Thompson Simulations with pretty much a very substandard, sloppy product they put out to the user base. And there's a lot of slack going around to Alan Thompson Simulations. They certainly deserve it. And, you know, this is a standard we should be expecting now from developers going forward, whether it be Dovetail, Alan Thompson, or any other developers, River Games, whoever it may be. You know, Firefly Simulations can come in and do this on their first release. We should be expecting this from more developers, like this level of quality. You'll notice here, just to our side, we have this big plant. I believe this is a cement plant. There is also... Is it here? Yeah, there is also a rail connection into the cement plant. Unfortunately, I don't believe any of the timetable services for the Class 66 actually use this sidings. Now, that might be true to life. It might not be used in-game anymore anyway. But it's a shame having, like, trackside businesses and not being able to use it. Looking at the Class 66 services we get with it, because I believe a lot of them are going out Tunbridge Yard and coming up here. And then just going through to Gravesend on back. So yeah, maybe there'll be some scenarios or some circumstances where we'll get to haul into some of the little trackside industries further down near Battling. There is also a asphalt plant that I believe you can see a rail connection. I'll point it out as we get down there. But yeah, it'll be fun to be able to serve some of the trackside industries. We have another 375 going there. So yeah, it'll be nice to see some of the trackside industries actually be able to be used, and maybe that's something the community can do in terms of adding some scenarios and services that actually use that on the asphalt plant. For ourselves, we're running the usual commuter service, so this line's generally served by the 375 we are running today. However, as I mentioned before, there are a few Javelin services that do run down to Maidstone West, and I'll be running one of them shortly in an upcoming video, so do make sure you stay tuned for that. But a lot of the stopping services are run by the Class 375 Electrostar. She's generally well suited to a route like this with lots of quick stops and stopping patterns along the way. In terms of the service pattern, this route tends to have a once half-hourly service during the week, heading both north and south. On there, so you do generally with the route get quite a lot of services to keep yourself engaged and with. And the fact that it's every half-hour service. Which, to be fair, considering part of the route, especially the southern bit after Maidstone, is quite rural, to have that regular stopping service is quite good for it. But I guess the main purpose of this line is to try and connect these, connect the rural towns and villages along the River Valley that don't have a direct mainline connection, to connect them onto mainline services, and act as essentially a bridge in a way. Next up is Snoodland, which is very close. You can see the platform just ahead, so we'll start bringing the speed down. And you can see again another big factory just there, highlighting just the industrial feel to the northern part of this route.
We will shortly be arriving at Snodland.
Now, I didn't look and see what this factory is, but I don't believe it has a rail connection. Again, though, if it did, it would be another, service we could potentially run in terms of servicing some of the trackside industries. We'll get the doors open. Looks like it's a big plant of some description. It also looks like there's a little bit of a church there as well. Get it into view. Wait for our doors to be locked. Yeah, I can't really tell what it is. It doesn't look like it's served by rail, that factory anyway. And you can see lots of trucks though in the car park. Just waiting for the guard to get the doors closed and we'll get on our way. And have a look as we go past. So New Hythe. New Hythe is the next station stop is an interesting one as well. Originally, along the River Valley, here and along the line, there was part of the reason the line was built, if I'm honest. And there was lots of paper mills and agriculture, and New Hythe Station, one of the later stations to be built on the route. I believe I did have it wrote down somewhere. I can't find it to hand, but it was one of the later stations that was built. Was originally built to basically funnel workers and service them former paper mills. Today you'll find the station's very much in the middle of a industrial warehouse zone, and as we get closer, you'll see the warehousing, the factories come in. There's lots of distribution centres, pretty much between here and Aylesford. So lots of warehouses and distribution centres for different businesses. DHL, as I may mention before, they have a distribution centre which I'll point out as we get there. Closer to Aylesford though than New Hythe. I think Every might have one. So you can see here, just ahead, the warehouses coming into sight as we get to this level crossing. Start slowing down. The platform's basically just around the bend. This will be your, if you were playing Beltring, this would be your stop marker. These warehouses coming into sight. But yeah, it's a very industrial area. The town is about half a mile in the other direction. There is a town near here. But the station is quite away from where the main town is. And then we are just served by, as I said, it is just factories going on. You've got the road bridge over there, and then the town. Obviously, too far away to see any of the buildings would be in that direction. So a little bit of a walk. Most of the people who'd be getting the train off on and off here, I assume, are workers going into the warehouses and into the jobs that are provided in the area, as opposed to residential commuters getting on and off, from the village. I'm sure there's probably a few, but I assume a lot of the people using this station are more workers from the industries, and that's what the station was built for. And then again, just a mile, so like the other side of this industrial estate essentially, is Aylesford. So another quick stop and a quick hop between stations as we head south.
The next station is Aylesford.
But lots of truck traffic, and you got solar farm over there. I'm assuming that's accurate. I didn't spot it when I was looking on Google Maps, but I'm assuming that is accurate to what you see. And it doesn't take long, basically, for us to get to Aylesford. Again, this is probably other big distribution webs, sites across the distributing goods, really. And I believe just here, coming up, you can see the yellow from the DHL, from the DHL building. It's kind of interesting to see that in game, that they managed to get the license to have that and be able to put DHL colours in there and have that accurately represented. And it just is a nice touch that basically adds to the route and adds to the environment. And it makes me look forward to seeing what Firefly Simulations come out with next in terms of route. They've literally upped in terms of quality and route design. Firefly Simulations have basically raised the bar in terms of, what's possible and what we should expect from routes in the future. Right, we're just about to get moving. Believe next station is Maidstone. Maidstone Barracks, to be precise. And then we have Maidstone West, which is basically next door. I was looking into the Maidstone because it just intrigued me as to why there's the gap between the two stations is less than half a mile as we get out of Aylesford between the two. There is a reason for that. Apparently, Maidstone West and Maidstone Barracks were built by rival operators to both serve the town of Maidstone, and they both wanted to be as this is before the lines were combined, and obviously they wanted to be as close to a town centre as possible. But they didn't want to share a platform. Obviously, if you know a little bit about British rail history, maybe you don't. Before it all came under the British Rail umbrella, there were lots of different rival companies all setting up rail networks. It's why there's so many termini in London, to be precise, because there are so many different rail companies all wanting their own terminus station and all competing for traffic. Eventually, obviously, they merged. London Underground's the same, really, with, that was built by numerous different companies. Kind of the same thing we get here basically with Maidstone. They were built by different companies. There's actually a third Maidstone station as well, Maidstone East, which we go under as we approach Maidstone Barracks. Maidstone East is probably the main Maidstone station, as it has direct services into London Victoria and London Charing Cross, whereas this is obviously only connecting north-south along the River Valley. But yeah, you'll see that's the reason why there's two stations so close together. They were originally built by rivals, eventually connected, but they both wanted to serve the city centre and be as close to the centre of town as they possibly could get. And that's how you end up with this situation where you have Maidstone Barracks, named after the army barracks, coming here, and then Maidstone West, literally probably half a mile down the track. And it also shows us a little bit of a splitting point as well between the scenery, because as I've mentioned before, we have this more built-up northern feel to the northern part of the line, and then as we head south towards Paddock Wood, it becomes really, really open. Wateringbury, very rural feel. Battling is pretty much in a field. It's a very different contrast between the two. So we are just a mile away now from our first of our two Maidstone stops. This is where, as I said, it starts to get more open once we get through this town. I'm trying to keep an eye out for where the rail bridge into Maidstone East comes over the line. I'm not sure if obviously the bridge is going to be modelled there. I'm just kind of curious to see whether Firefly Simulations have actually modelled the track over there as well to highlight that it is an actual rail bridge. Oh yeah, so the horses moving along, that's a nice little detail. Horses out in the field. I believe the rail bridge is the first of the two bridges we're going to go under as we pull into Maidstone Valley. Maidstone Barracks. I think this should be the rail bridge. And then the station is the other side of the tracks. You can see basically the bridge that leads into Maidstone East over there. Yeah, and there it is, there's the lines. I don't know if it has any services modelled to use that, but there you go, you can see it is there, it is modelled in-game as a working station. And then Maidstone East is just over that, we can't really see it because of the train, just over that blue bridge, blue metal bridge you can see in the distance. Kind of difficult to line up with the camera. But yeah, well done for Firefly Simulations. I don't think anyone would really go to look for that track up there. Unless you're trying to look for like small hidden details along the line, but it's nice to see that it is there. And represented in game. And as I was saying, we have a matter of yards basically between Maidstone Barracks and Maidstone West. I think it's less than half a mile. And you can pretty much already see where the platform is from the next stop, from there. So it actually kind of reminds me a little bit like a metro feel, this section of track. Arriving at Maidstone West. And just like that, that maybe takes 30 seconds. We're pulling into the next station. So as I mentioned before, you do get javelin services going into London from here as well. Using the High Speed 2. High Speed 1, rather. I'm not sure where they go for. I'm assuming they probably pull in from to the other platform. But if you do want to see a javelin service along this line, do make sure you do like and subscribe the video. And stay tuned, that's going to be coming very shortly. It's probably going to be our next gameplay release, is going to be a javelin run here on the Medway Valley Line, which I'm very much looking forward to. So if that is something you'd like to see as well, make sure you click the subscribe button. And we're back and we've been given the clear to go. We've already got the doors locked, so we'll get the power on, get moving. Obviously held for timetable, so we must be slightly ahead. I'm running ahead of time, which is probably a rarity for British trains to be ahead of schedule. I'm not going to be offering any delay compensation on today's service, unfortunately. I say that, we're still plenty of time to mess up as we head south. And head out into the open countryside.
East Farley. This is British Transport for...
We do have an extra little siding there. But yeah, soon enough the buildings here will be replaced with fields of the floodplains further south as well. It's very much built on floodplains, the southern part of the route. And this is where we get the main agriculture coming through, and that contrast from the northern part. And again, just pretty views of the River Medway as well as we hug the side of the river heading south. Lots of boat traffic on there, and again, you can already see we've left the industry, the heavy factories behind, even in this little section, for something much more remote. AWS warning here for the signal to get down to 40. We're going to need to get down anyway because we've 40 marker starts at the station, but we've got to stop there. This part of the route gets a lot more windy as well, as you probably noticed from just the first few minutes. You know, we are literally following the path of the river.
Be arriving at East Farley.
We'll let it cruise into the platform. Here's the 40 marker. Doesn't really affect us at the moment because we're stopping anyway, but if we were, say, handling an express service, obviously we'd need to take into consideration there that when you get to East Farley, there is that 40 zone. Try and make sure we stop. I have, in a previous run, kind of overshot this platform a little bit and ended up halfway across the level crossing. In terms of being parked. Another thing you see quite a bit as well on this route is stations that are staggered across the road or across level crossings like this one. You know, we're here on this side of the crossing, and then platform, what is this, platform 1 or 2? I'm not sure which one. Yeah, this is platform 1. Platform 2 is the complete other side. So you do get a lot of these staggered crossings, especially in this section of the route. Next station stop is Wateringbury. So Wateringbury, I think, is one of my little favourite. Just for the modelling, is one of my favourite little stations we go through. I've never been there in real life, or to any of the towns in real life in this section, but on this route. I have been through Tonbridge on the way down to Tunbridge Wells. On the is that to Hastings that line takes you to? I'm not quite sure. But I have stayed in Tunbridge Wells, and that obviously takes you through Tunbridge, but that's about it for my knowledge of towns in this section of the world, for where I visited in real life. But Wateringbury, it just looks quite like a nice little village. We do have a few miles gap. It is a little bit of a longer route now. We're south of Maidstone. Much more open countryside we're rolling through. I mean, we do have like a little church up there as well. That's quite nice. I haven't noticed that before. Little church up on the hill. Again, 2 miles though between stops isn't particularly far. Old, is that like fuel buildings or something? I'm not sure what they are. Old railway buildings. And trackside clutter. It's a pleasant route to drive, and we will be seeing a lot more content from this route in the future. I do also have live streams coming up as well. I'll be reintroducing the live streams, and this is probably going to be the first route that features on a live stream. Hopefully this Sunday. We'll be reintroducing the live stream, so if you've never stuck around or you're new to the channel, that is something we were doing regularly back in the past, especially when Train Sim World 6 first came out. Weekly live streams on Sundays. And even in the build-up to Train Sim World 6 being released. So we'll be introducing them, and this is probably going to be the first live stream that we do focused on this route. Just because it deserves the attention it's getting, quite frankly. And I'm thoroughly enjoying playing this as well. Again, I can't sing the praise of Firefight Simulations. I can't sing their praise enough with this route. It's essentially set the bar for what's possible, what a Train Sim World route should be. And here we get into, as I mentioned, Wateringbury. So again, it's a nice little rural station. We now have the sheep in the fields, and that bringing us down. You've got the bridge just the other side. The staggered platforms again. Make sure we stop and don't spad. Yeah, never in danger. We pretty much stopped at the marker. But yeah, obviously you got the red light there. It's just turned to green, protecting the level crossing. Well, it's a nice countryside station, and I think this might be, as I said, I've never been here. I wouldn't mind coming here. It looks like a lovely place to visit. I'm assuming this is like an old train shed or something at the side. Maybe from when the years gone by. A little path there heading down to the river that I never noticed. Ooh, even a life ring on the path. There's so much life with the trackside scenery that Fi-Fi simulations have put into this route. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying it so much and finding it so much fun to drive. It might be cliche to say, but yeah, Firefly simulations, they just get it. They really have just got it with this route. Oh, we are speeding a little bit. I do claim to be a professional. I only ever slightly speed. That'd certainly be tea and biscuits with the manager, as Dad Rail likes to say. Have this been my real job, another thing that adds to the rural feel as you get out here, out in the sticks, we're heading towards Yalding now, is the amount of level crossings kind of increases. You know, there's less bridges around. Probably because, you know, the amount of traffic, it isn't warranted building a bridge. You know, at grade crossings fine. A lot of these like passenger pedestrian crossings as well. I can't say I'd be too keen on using them myself, but I guess if I lived out here, I wouldn't really have a choice in using these pedestrian crossings. Especially the unguarded ones as well. We do have a flashing aspect signal there. You see traffic parked at the level crossing for us. Another lovely little station with the, I guess they kind of look like Dutch boat houses. They look very modern, modernly built. Like a new construction here at Yalding. Now, as I mentioned before, the asphalt plant is between here and Beltring. It's not actually that far away from Yalding Station. You'll see it as we head south in a moment. Very easy to... But it's easy enough to miss. But you will see the branch off.
The next station is Beltring.
As we continue our journey south, I'll try and point it out as when we get there. And again, like the cement factory up further north of the route, it'd be very nice if it was, you know, if you could run freight service into it. I'm assuming the reason that isn't on the timetable is just because them services don't exist in real life anymore. Obviously, at one point they did. But it's no longer serviced. You can see just here, in fact, I believe. Is it just here? I think this is where the branch is. Yep, there's the branch off. There's the line into the asphalt plant. And the asphalt plant's basically here. But yeah, unfortunately no good services run into that. We go, the River Medway just went underneath us there. And our next stop is Beltring. So Beltring's an interesting one on the route. If you look at it, you'll think, why is this station built? There's literally nothing here. There's a big hop... Beltring station was built to service the hop farms. And that is why it's literally a station in the middle of nowhere. It's probably, I would assume, the least used station on the line. But yeah, this is an area known for its hops, and this is what the reason was to build for, the main hop farms behind the trees over there. Let's just put the brake on so we don't overshoot. But so this is the reason for this station existing. It's you can see one of the farm buildings that's not the main hop farm, but a different farm over there, and this is the reason why we have this station, is to service the farms, bring in the workers. Maybe at some point as well, this also had agricultural trains. I wouldn't be surprised. Back in the day when railways were king and before road transport really took over. And just like that, we're a mile away from Paddock Wood. One thing you do find on this service, and when you run services on this route, they do absolutely fly by. There is one more station. We're going to be pulling into the bay platform today at Paddock Wood, but if you wanted and were that way inclined, you can take the line down to Tonbridge. My first video on this route, if you've not seen it, go watch it as well, is a ride going the other way, heading north from Tonbridge, going up to Strood. And that version on that video, you do get to stretch the legs of the 375 a little bit, as you're on the southeastern main line between Tonbridge and Paddock Wood. And you can really get up to like top line, well, near enough top line speed. Where here, obviously we're more restricted anyway, to generally 40s or 50s. But the station stops are so frequent, there's not really a chance to stretch the legs of the trains that you're driving. There's a notification to get down to 35. There is a tiny bit of single track as we get into Paddock Wood and pull off the Medway Valley Line. Again, this is in quite a built-up factory area as well, just where it's located in the town. But as we finally do get to our destination, final destination here, I see we're less than a mile away now. I just want to give everyone a big thank you. If you've watched this far, give me a comment but down below. Let me know you're still watching. Say whatever you like, really. Just let me know that you're here with me as well. I do appreciate it if you have stayed with me for the full time. And yeah, make sure you tune in to much more content coming in the future, whether it be reviews or live gameplay. There's the other DHL distribution centre, just here coming into Paddock Wood. All the yellow DHL signage going past. And again, as I said, this area is quite a bit of built up and quite a lot of
We will shortly be arriving at Paddock Wood. Please check that you have all your personal
warehousing around.
when leaving the train, and keep them with you at all times whilst
We'll get
on the
down the speed. We've got a little bit of a sidings here. But for us, we've got this 25 coming up, and then we're at the platform. This is the part where it essentially joins and becomes very briefly single track. Well, there's 25 miles an hour, and then it's 15 just the other side. I don't know if this sidings is used for anything anymore. But yeah, a single track section here. This is where we join the main line for us. We're here pulling in to the little bay platform to end our journey today. So, as I was saying, if you've enjoyed today's video, I hope to see you again in the future. Don't forget to click the like button and also give us a subscribe as well. But there's lots more train sim and simulation content coming on the channel, whether that be reviews or live gameplay, such as today's video. For now, though, as we pull in to Paddock Wood, little few seconds late, 30 seconds, that's not too bad. I'd like to bid you all farewell and have a good day.